Namaste everybody, and thank you for joining me in this yin practice. This is the final part of my Elemental Yin series in which we explore the elements of traditional Chinese medicine and their associated meridians in our practice. So today we are focusing on the metal element, and the associated meridians are the lung and large intestine. Both of these meridians are located on the arms, with the lung starting more around the chest and moving to the index finger, and the large intestine starting on the thumb, coming along the back of the arms, kind of onto the top of the shoulder blade there and coming onto the face. So as well as working with these meridians with our arms, we will also be working into opening up the rib cage a little bit, so expanding the area around the lungs. So the metal element is associated with the season of autumn, and if we think about a tree in the autumn, it sheds its leaves in order to conserve energy and to preserve its resources, its energy, for maintaining its inner core. And this is the energy behind the metal element. So there is a letting go, a detoxing of what no longer serves us, and a preservation of what is important to us, what we need to move forwards. And that's what we'll be focusing on today. So we'll start just in a comfortable seated position, with the eyes closed and the hands resting on the knees. You can always take something beneath their sitting bones to lift the hips slightly if that's more comfortable. And start to root down through the sitting bones and reach up through the crown of the head, finding length in the spine, increasing the distance between the pelvis and the rib cage, finding a sense of expansion in the body, as well as feeling grounded. And start to focus on your breath, just observing the natural in and out flow from your body. Recognize this pattern of taking in fresh air and oxygen, absorbing what is useful to us, and then letting go of that which no longer serves us. This constant cycle of taking in, assimilating, and letting go. Start to lengthen your inhales and exhales. Cultivating a slow, steady breath. One that you can return to in the practice. We'll move into our first shape, which will be Bananasana. So we'll come into Shavasana first. We'll start with the left leg. So take the left leg as far over to the left, so off of the mat as you can. And then take the right leg over to the left and cross the ankle on top of the left ankle. Now if you notice that your right hip has come up and off the ground, then just take it back down. We're aiming to have both hips, both buttocks still on the ground. Take your arms up overhead and catch a hold of the right wrist with your left hand, and take the right arm over to the left also. So we're making a little banana shape on the ground here. If you want to take this a little bit further, you can bend the right elbow and catch a hold of the top of the right tricep or the elbow with your left hand, and I find this increases the stretch. So taking a moment to settle into your shape, your expression, and we're here for 3 minutes. Breathing deeply into your lungs. Feeling that expansion in the right side of your body. That stretching of the intercostal muscles. Stretching especially into the large intestine meridian here. As well as increasing space in the rib cage. Staying aware of the breath. Keeping your focus on that in and out flow, as well as the sensations that this shape creates in your body. And being with your experience. Anytime your mind wanders, just let go of the distractions without any judgment and just calmly bring your attention back to the breath, back to the sensations. One last deep breath here, sending that air into the right side of your chest, and then release the legs back to center, arms down by your side and spine in one straight line. Just taking a moment to neutralize here before we move on to the other side. Take a moment to acknowledge the differences in sensation between the two sides. And then take your right leg over to the right, as far as you can, off the mat. And cross the left ankle over the top of the right. Grounding down through that left hip again. Reach the arms overhead, either taking a hold of that left wrist with the right hand or bending into the left elbow and catching a hold of it with that right hand. Easing the upper body over to the right, making your banana shape. And when you found your shape, settling in, and we're here for 3 minutes. Permitting yourself stillness and relaxation here. You don't have to hold on to any tension, you can just let it go. Feeling into the expansion in the left side of the body now. Observing how the breath feels in that left rib cage. Any thought that comes into the mind and tries to detract you from the present moment, just let it go. Remaining in stillness, both physically and also in the mind. Using this cycle of the breath as a hypnotic anchor into the present moment. We'll take one last full breath here, expanding that left rib cage. And then releasing back to center for your rebound. Bringing the legs back onto the mat, arms down by the sides, shuffling the spine back into alignment. Observing now both sides of the body. Maybe observing that balance has been restored. Slowly we'll move into the next posture. Just start by rolling onto the belly. We're coming into open wings. So we'll start by stretching the right arm out beside us into a half T position. If you know that you're more open in the chest and you want a deeper stretch, you can cactus that arm, so bringing a 90-degree angle at the elbow. Face the left side of the room and take your left hand in front of your face, using that hand to push you onto your right side, bending into both knees, and then taking the sole of the left foot to the ground, lifting that knee up towards the sky. There's an option here to also lift the right knee up towards the sky. And you can always bring some bolsters and some props beneath the two knees to hold yourself there. Also an option to take that left arm behind the back. So taking a moment to find your position where you feel the edge of your zone of comfort, where something's beginning to happen in that right side of the chest. And then find stillness. We're here for 3 minutes. If you find yourself fidgeting in these postures, maybe just try to identify why you feel the need to move. If you've come too deep into the posture and you're feeling pain or the sensation is too intense, then maybe just back out a little. Or if there's a restlessness in the mind, then perhaps just coming back to the breath, anchoring yourself into the present moment will help. Just letting go of the distractions. Take one last full breath in this position. And very slowly rolling back down onto your belly, legs extended long, then arms either down by your sides or creating a pillow to rest your cheek on, taking your face onto your left cheek and coming into your rebound. Just observing the sensation in your arms, any tingling or pulsation, maybe a slight numbness, a rush of blood into that right arm. Observing how these sensations slowly dissolve slowly we'll move onto the other side. So extending that left arm over to the left, either straight or cactus position, depending on which option you took on your other side. Right hand in front of the face, and use it to roll yourself onto your left side, bending into the knees, and then taking the sole of the right foot onto the ground with the knee pointing up. Option to lift both knees up, maybe taking some bolsters or props below the knees. And if you want to take that right hand behind your back, you can do that also. So find your position where you feel that strong sensation. And we're here for 3 minutes in stillness. Total relaxation. If your mind has wandered, gently bring it back to the present, either to the breath, to the sensations in your body. Take one last deep breath in this position. And then slowly release onto your belly. Legs straight. Arms either down by the sides or creating a pillow. And face resting on the right cheek. Observing the sensations in your body. Feeling that rush of energy into your left arm. Enjoying this moment of just observing the sensations return back to a more balanced state between the two sides. Watching that rush of energy dissipate. We'll come into the next posture, which is hugging wings. That's what I like to call it. So we'll start by coming up to a Sphinx position. And then cross the forearms so that they're parallel to one another and to the short side of the mat. We'll bring the right arm in front first. Now walk the arms in opposite directions. So the right hand walks over to the left hand walks over to the right. So you cross at the elbows. Go as far as you can and then just relax. If this is not enough for you, then you can use your toes to push yourself forwards, coming further on top of the elbows. And there's an option here to bring a block underneath the forehead. Or maybe even, if this is uncomfortable, you can bring a rolled blanket or a bolster beneath the chest. So shuffling into your position and then find stillness. We're here for 3 minutes. Just take a moment to scan through your body and make sure you're not holding onto any unnecessary tension. We have a tendency here to hold on to our glutes. So just softening the buttocks, the feet, the ankles. Allow the heels to roll gently out to the sides. Soften the space in between the shoulder blades and allow them to melt down the sides of your body. Neck is soft, face relaxed. We have a tendency to hold on to so much unnecessary tension in our lives, whether this be physical, emotional, or mental. And just let this go. Maybe taking this opportunity to reflect for a moment on what these tensions may be. Whether they be habits or mind patterns and thoughts which come into your mind frequently and don't serve you. Emotions or grief. Maybe relationships in your life that don't add to your growth and support. Can you just let these go? Imagine them like leaves on a tree in autumn. Releasing those leaves and watching them float down to the ground. We'll take one last breath here. Very slowly, lifting the head and walking the arms back in towards one another. Bringing the elbows more or less under shoulders. We'll just take a rest in Sphinx. Using this almost as a rebound, but it is a posture within itself. We'll move on to the other side. So once again, bringing the forearms parallel to one another and the short side of the mat, this time with the left arm in front. And walk the hands in opposite directions, crossing at the elbows. Again, if you need to place any props, maybe under the chest, under the forehead, maybe rolling forwards, more on top of the arms with the help of your toes. Find your position. We're here for 3 minutes. Once again, just conducting that internal inventory of the body parts, releasing any tension you might be holding on to. Allowing yourself to melt into this posture. That tension between the shoulder blades dissolving. Allowing you to sink further down towards the ground. Maybe coming back to that reflection for a moment. Identifying what it is in your life, in it, that you would like to let go of. Whether that be something within yourself or something exterior that no longer helps you to grow. Take one last deep breath here. And slowly ease the arms in towards one another. And this time we'll move straight down onto our belly, into our rebound. Removing any props, taking the arms down by the sides. Watching that internal dance of sensations within the body. slowly we'll move into our next position, which will be melting heart. So taking the hands either side of your chest, gently, slowly push yourself up to a kneeling position. And I like to bring a blanket beneath my knees here. I find it a little more comfortable in these long holds. So bringing knees hip distance onto your blanket. And then stacking hips on top of knees. Walk your hands forward, melting your heart down towards the earth. You can keep your forehead on the ground, or if you're more flexible in your back, you can take the chin onto the ground. If you like, you can bring a bolster or a blanket beneath the torso. This can be a little bit more comfortable. And if you want to increase the sensation in the fronts of your armpits, then you can take your bolster on your mat in front and take your wrists onto that bolster, taking the forehead down to the ground. This can increase the sensation in the fronts of the arms and the chest. So find your expression, and we're here for 4 minutes. That moment at the beginning of these postures to scan through the body. Are you holding onto tension which is unnecessary? So often we do it without even realizing. Dissolving any tension that you find, surrendering yourself into the position. Allow gravity to do the work for you. Really good stretch for the lung meridian, opening up the front of the body, chest and the rib cage. Find this posture more challenging, then just observe the mind without getting caught up in the details of the thoughts or the emotions that arise. Just observe this play of the mind. Does it want to take you away from the present moment? And where does it want to take you? To past, to future, pleasant or unpleasant, reality or fantasy? Taking the opportunity to develop an awareness of the mind patterns. Acknowledge whether these patterns serve you whether it's something you would like to let go of. Always with patience and compassion, without a hint of judgment or frustration. We're nearly there. Take one last deep breath into your lungs. And slowly work yourself back into a child's pose. Taking your rebound here, maybe taking the arms next to the body to allow them a full release. Remaining focused in these rebounds. Relaxed yet alert and attentive. Slowly we'll move into our next position. So coming up to a kneel, we'll come into a reclined butterfly position. So just taking a bolster or a couple of blankets, making a little roll out of them, making this as high as you want to, really. I quite like a bit of height there. So taking that stack of props lengthways on the mat and turning to line yourself up so that the prop comes about a fist distance away from the sacrum, and then releasing back onto the bolster, bringing the soles of the feet together and allowing the knees to fall open. You can keep your feet as far in to your body or further away as feels right for you. And arms can either be down by your sides or up overhead if that feels good. So take a little bit of time finding the position that you can hold here, and then come into stillness. We're here for 5 minutes. If you have your arms up overhead, we're working a little more into the lung and the large intestine meridians. Either way, we're creating space in the front of the chest. just take the time and space in this posture to reflect on what we would like to preserve in our lives. So in the previous reflections, we looked at what we would like to let go of, but it is just as important to identify what it is that you would like to preserve, to reflect on that which does serve you. This could be relating to your strengths, what you like to do, what makes you feel happy, fulfilled, supported. Which activities and disciplines serve you? Which relationships you have in your life which help you to grow? If at any point your mind wanders, gently bring it back, either to your reflections, to a sense of gratitude, perhaps in acknowledging these good aspects of your life, the things which lift you and nourish you. Maybe back to breath, back to sensation. We'll take one last breath here. Slowly taking your hands down to the outside of your knees and using your hands to push the knees together so they're facing the sky, soles of the feet to the ground. And just roll off to one side to slide that prop from underneath you and roll onto your back, extending the legs long and coming into a rebound Shavasana. Watching how your experience changes on the physical, emotional, and mental levels. allow yourself to be with yourself. To live this moment to its fullest by being present and soaking it all in. We'll move into our final posture, which will be twisted roots. So take the soles of the feet to the ground, about hip distance. Just press into the feet gently to lift the hips just a couple of centimeters and take them over to the right a couple of inches and place them back down. Take the right leg on top of the left thigh. Maybe if you have the flexibility, tucking those toes beneath the left calf. And this isn't that important. And then rolling the legs over to the left. You can bring a bolster or a blanket beneath the knees. This can feel quite nice and feel a little bit more stable and supported. I encourage you in this position to take your arms either to a cactus position or to take the hands just below the head. This will encourage a stretch in the right side of the chest and work a little more into the lung meridian. Finding your position, your positioning of the bolster, the blankets, and we're here for 3 minutes. Remaining with your practice. Using your breath or sensations as a tool to stay present. Letting go of any distractions that creep into the mind. Letting this be an exploration of your body. Of these different postures and how they make you feel. Developing a greater degree of awareness of yourself. take one last deep breath in this position. And slowly releasing the hands down, maybe using that left hand to help guide the knees back up to a central position. Releasing the bind of the legs and taking the soles of the feet to the ground. Pressing into the feet to lift and realign the hips into the center. Allowing the feet to come as wide as the mat and the knees to knock in towards one another. Taking a moment here to neutralize the spine before we move on to the other side. Sliding the feet back to about hip distance. Press into the feet and lift the hips slightly to ease them over to the left a couple of inches. Crossing the left leg on top of the right thigh and maybe tucking the toes if that's available for you. Dropping the knees over to the right. And maybe taking a blanket beneath the knees to support them here. Taking the hands either into cactus or just tucking the tops of the fingers under the head so that you can feel that stretch into the left side of the chest. And we're here for 3 minutes. Consciously releasing every part of your body. Allow gravity and time to sink you deeper into the posture. With your breath. Stay with your experience. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Take one last full breath here. Release the hands down to the sides. Maybe using your right hand to push the knees back up to center. Unravel the legs. Press the soles of the feet into the ground to realign the hips. And then take the feet to mat width and allow the knees to come into one another. Or just take a conscious rebound before moving into our Shavasana. So stay with your presence. And just for this last little part of the practice, keep focused and alert in the mind. Watch the dance of your existence. See how it unfolds before you. And we'll release into Shavasana whenever you're ready. Sliding your legs long, feet as wide as the mat and toes rolling to the sides. Backs of the hands resting on the floor, palms up. If you want to add any blankets under the knees or over your body, any extra clothing, then you can do so now. Make yourself nice and comfortable. You can now release any control over the body, over the breath, over the mind. Coming into complete relaxation for your Shavasana. Now I will leave you here. So please do take at least a few minutes in your Shavasana, and longer if you have it. Thank you for coming and sharing your practice with me and letting me guide you. Namaste.